to the episode of Bandai Marathon. This time it's episode 8, Mothra Vs Godzilla. Bam! Okay, so this is my favorite Godzilla movie. Absolutely, hands down, without a doubt, my favorite. Why? Because Godzilla's a badass. You know, he's fighting Mothra for the first time. Great acting, bleh. Great story, fun 1960s Showa vibes, start to finish. Not to mention, it's got a badass entrance of Godzilla, which is also my favorite entrance, okay? Which also happens to be the Mothra Goji, my favorite suit design. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so this movie came out in 1964. Again, Mothra vs. Godzilla. Here in the United States, it was called Godzilla vs. The Thing. Some people call it Godzilla vs. Mothra. But in Japan, it was Mothra vs. Godzilla. So we're talking about the Bandai figures attached to this movie. I have a bunch of Godzilla 64s here. So we're going to start right from the beginning. Back in the 80s, the original 8-inch scale Godzilla 64. Okay? So the figure on the bottom of the foot, as I was taking pictures, it's stamped 1983. But I believe the figure didn't come out until 1984. Either way, the figure, it is like 41 years old. Crazy. It was made in a hard vinyl. Okay? Came with a plastic tag. That's what we call those older Bandai figures from the 80s with the plastic tags. It is attached. That's how it comes. Fortunately, mine's still attached. You know, we'll talk about another one over here shortly. But again, it's 1980s. The sculpting was not what it is today. But for 1980s, this is freaking awesome. I mean, clearly you could look at the figure and you could tell it's 1964's Mothra Goji, okay? Paint job, it's got silver highlights on his stomach and knees, painted up on his hands and toenails and all that good stuff across his head. You know, some simple airbrushing there. That's how they did this. Now on the back, dorsal plates also painted silver all the way down his tail, right to the tip. So it's nice to see that they weren't just cutting off the paint jobs back in the 80s like they are nowadays. That's okay. I'm not nitpicking, but we're just pointing out the obvious. Now, something interesting about the 64 design, and that's across all three figures that we have here, is the dorsal plates. The dorsal plates are stamped, pressed, however you want to explain it. If you look closely here, you can see that the vinyl in between the spikes on the dorsal plates is not cut out. It almost looks like they just cut them off however they were pressed, and they left everything in between. Really takes away from the look of the dorsal plates because it just looks like these chunky blocks there. But that's how this figure was released. Okay. Another interesting fact: this is for the Godzilla collection on the tag on one side. It's got all the Bandai information there, but on the opposite side, it's got the 67 Godzilla for the suit. I don't know why Bandai has done this over the years, and they still do it to this day. They put the wrong suit on the tag for the corresponding figure. Not a big deal, but you know, it's just weird. You know, as we get into the 6-inch stuff and some other stuff, I'll point those out as well. All right, so this is the original 8-inch 64 Godzilla. Dig it. I love it. Again, 1983. It was sculpted and ended up coming out in 1984-ish. So, moving on to 1988. We'll go to this figure. It was reissued in 88. Same sculpt. Nothing different about the figure. There's some articulation in all these in the arms and the legs and the tail. And that's it. But the same sculpt. Everything is identical about the figure. I will admit that this one has a better paint job. Done in like a dark green vinyl. Silver highlights. But it also has some oversprays of black to give the figure a little bit more depth. And I really love that on this figure. Now, the unfortunate thing, my tag broke off. I was literally taking the photos for this video, and as I picked it up, the tag broke. That's something that's going to happen with these older figures. The plastic becomes brittle, you know, over time and age, and it broke. I have to find I have tags somewhere around here, and I'll re-tag it. Or maybe I'll just leave it the way it is. Not the biggest of deals, but when it comes to the Bandai stuff, you know, I love the tagged figures. Tagged, you know, if it's supposed to be tagged, I want it tagged. It's very unfortunate that it broke for like when I was getting ready to do this video. Ironic, right? But I really like this one the best. Actually, now that I'm looking at the eyes on the original is actually, yeah, they're very similar. So big dark pupils with silver grayish along the outside, so that gives it some nice depth. I'm always about the depth. I love the paint job when it gives the figure depth. It makes it feel, you know, just deeper of a figure, you know, other than just flat paint jobs and some stuff as we've seen over the years. All right, so the tag on this one, not a plastic tag. It's just a standard paper tag. This one's got the Godzilla 62 on it. Okay? They removed the Godzilla collection, unlike the, you know, from the other plastic tags, and it just comes with Godzilla 62 on the front, licensing sticker, and on the back it has the basic Bandai information with Godzilla's logo right there. Boom. Okay? And that has a gold licensing sticker. All right, so moving up to 1989, another reissue, this time with the Damn tag, Destroy All Monsters tag, perforation there, gold licensing sticker, and all the basic Bandai information on the back that we know. So back in the late 80s, 89s, and the early 90s, Bandai started releasing their figures with the Destroy All Monster tags. Those became like the primo Bandai figures to hunt down. Okay. Now, this figure, again, same sculpt, same everything, same points of articulation. The paint job is very similar to the 88 reissue. This one does have, again, the silver highlights on the chest, stomach, knees, hands, dorsal plates, and all that stuff all the way down. Same issue with the pressed dorsal plates there, you know, with the in-between, the vinyl in-between the spikes. The eyes are basically painted the same. But this one looks good. I dig this one too. But this one is my favorite of these three. Okay? Did I miss anything? Price-wise, I don't know how much these were when they probably came out. I'm going to guess probably anywhere from like 10 to 15 bucks. Maybe like, you know, 1,200 yen, give or take, at the time that they came out. Maybe less. Not my area. All right, so that brings us, let's go in order of release here. We'll go to the Mothra Larva. We'll break up these 64s. Mothra Larva. So this is, you know, it keeps blowing my mind about the Mothras. So the 64 and 68 Mothra had red eyes, right? The 61 Mothra has the blue eyes. So this is supposed to be the 64 Mothra, if I'm correct. And this one's got blue eyes. I mean, this definitely looks like... Actually, now I don't know. Is it supposed to be 61 Mothra? What's on the back of the tag? I don't break it. It just says Mothra. But I'm going with 64 because the 64 Mothra, if I, you know, from looking at the worms, the larva in the 64 film, this was very defined here on the two larvae. But then it's got like the light tan stripe down his back. So maybe it's the 61. I don't know. I always took this as a 64 Mothra. But this came out in 1989. Destroy All Monsters tag. Only 1 point of articulation at the head. But, you know, you're not really going to mess with that. So that's the larva. He's only maybe like 4.5 to 5 inches long. Maybe 6 inches. But not... That's all it is to it. One straight dog doo-doo. Then we have Mothra 64. This adult Mothra came in the box. Okay? Pretty cool box with Mothra logos and inscriptions on it. Or descriptions of Mothra. One big difference for this, it should have been the 64. Instead we got the, what is that, the 91? 91, 89 Godzilla on the box here and up over here. Okay? And just because it doesn't come with a tag, the box acts as the tag. When did this come out? This came out in, I want to say 92. So this came out in 1992. So I will take it out for this video. Inside the box comes the figure. Inside this styrofoam, or foam rather. Be careful because I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it because I'm a klutz. You all know I'm a klutz. So it comes in this squishy foam to protect it inside the packaging, okay? And it's got a nice silhouette of Mothra. Boom. So if you want to take it outside, you could spray paint over this Mothra logos on your driveway or something, okay? The figure comes like this. Very nicely done. Now, the wings, plastic. Very, very thin plastic. Mothra's body now, felt. This fuzzy felt type of body for her, which is pretty nice detail, you know, other than it just being straight up plastic like the 92 Mothra from the 96 Mothra version. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But this has got this fuzzy abdomen from head to toe, and on the underneath too. Now the thing is I keep this in its box because the fuzz will get dirty over time. It'll collect dust, and you're never going to get it off. It's going to look gray, dirty, just gross looking, okay? Mothra actually, her head turns, okay? So you want to be careful with that. But looks really, really nice. I dig it. It doesn't come with a stand, but that's okay. Like I said, I keep it in the box. And that's how we display Mothra. I'm just going to put her down, and I'll put her back in the box after I'm done recording here. Because I'll be doing it right up here, and I'm probably going to break it. Ugh. Okay, we don't want to break no more freshness. All right, so moving on up to the 2005 Memorial box set, we got the first brand new Mothra vs. Godzilla Mosugoji Godzilla 64 figure. Again, if you're watching this, and you should know about the 50th anniversary Memorial box. If you don't know, that set came out for in 2005. You should have been able to pre-order it sometime in the summer of 2004. The box set was $300, and it came with a bunch of new sculpted Godzilla figures, and one of them being this awesome 64 Godzilla. I love it. This figure, it's perfect. Like a typical Bandai figure, just articulation at the head, arms, and legs. He's done in like a greenish gray vinyl, and he's got the dorsal plates painted up very, very nicely done. I really love how the dorsal plates are painted, and the spray goes right down to the tip of the tail. And this is perfect. Such an upgrade from the original 80s figures. Not taking anything away from them, because these are great too for what they are and from when they come from, okay? But the Memorial box figure is perfection. They really honed in on the accuracy to the suit, from the face, the eyes, the look, everything screams 64 Godzilla. And that's why this figure, ever since it was released in the Memorial box set, it commanded high prices at G-Fest and online, because it was only issued in the Memorial box set up until the 64 was reissued in 2024. And pretty damn cool. Of course, I picked this one up as well. You know, and that's something we've been seeing in the last few years, is the 50th anniversary Memorial box figures are getting reissued in the Movie Monster series lineup. So it's awesome to see that now collectors are able to get these figures outside of the Memorial box and pay for a retail price. If I remember correctly, I think I probably paid maybe $20 for this. I forget where I bought it from, honestly. Maybe the Godzilla store or off of Yahoo Japan. I don't remember at the moment. Maybe showcased like Kaiju. I can't remember. There's so many avenues to get Bandai figures nowadays. That is a great problem, okay? But to pick it up when it's brand new, you're not going to pay maybe $25, $30, give or take, you know, with shipping included, depending on where you're buying it from. Now, this reissue, different paint job compared to the Memorial box version. Dorsal plates have more of a white paint to them, where the Memorial box version has more of a bone-ish off-white color. They stopped the paint halfway down, or about a quarter way down the tail. Something that we've seen common with Bandai figures nowadays. Not the worst thing in the world, but, you know, it would have just... Why wouldn't it hurt just to go all the way down? But that's okay. So, paint job on this looks really, really good. He's almost got like a dirty look to him, in a very subtle way. Toenails, fingernails, all painted with that bone yellowish color, and the face is painted beautifully. Nice detail there, and just comparing them both mouths are painted Very, very nice. Okay. So, and they got the right Godzilla on the tag. Okay. So the tag's got the 64 Godzilla. And on the information there on the opposite side, it's got the Mothra vs. Godzilla logo and the movie Monster Series. And I believe that's the Godzilla store. It's a Godzilla store exclusive, if I remember correctly. Boom. So that brings us up to the last one. I included this one because it's technically the 64 Godzilla. This is the Godzilla, however you pronounce it. Little doofy looking figure from, if you've watched the Godzilla YouTube channel, they do that show, Godzilla, with the cool little puppets and whatnot, that feature a lot of different monsters, but Godzilla and Minya, and it's all on the tag right there. So make sure you check out the Godzilla YouTube channel for the Godzilla show. I've only watched a couple episodes here and there. It's pretty cool. For what it is. It's more content. But this is Godzilla 64. Like a typical Bandai figure, articulation, arms, legs. That's it. Nothing a tail or head. Hang tag that goes great for this type of figure. Because it would have been crazy if the tag was the standard 6-inch movie monsters, because it would be just as big as a figure. That would ruin the vibe of the figure. But the paint job looks really good. Golden eyes with black pupils. Nice, big, pronounced golden eyebrows. And the paint job looks really good. For something this small, like, they did a great job. Like, it works. I dig it. So there you go. That is Mothra vs. Godzilla. I would bring up some X Plus for comparison, but I'm going to end up knocking something over. But like we had mentioned earlier, these are 8-inch scale, followed up by 6-inch scale, and then, the 3.5, 4-inch Godzilla figure. Boom. And we got figures that span for Mothra vs. Godzilla from the 80s through the 90s, all the way to the 2000s and present. So really, really awesome. All right, so that's it. That's Mothra vs. Godzilla. Next up will be the next 64 film, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. I'll have to figure out if I'm going to bring up any of these again, maybe just for reference and whatnot. But thank you for watching. Make sure you check out that shop tab on the YouTube homepage for Fresh Vinyl reviews and get yourself a Fresh Vinyl shirt. I'm always going to plug that. Do it. Join the Fresh Vinyl Army. And if you're going to G-Fest, make sure you wear the shirt. I would love to get a big group photo of everybody that's wearing the shirt on maybe like Saturday or something. That would be pretty damn cool. I would always plug, if you're looking for more Bandai information, check out clubtokyo.org, a resource of knowledge and information on Bandai figures. A lot of photos. So if you're looking for something specific, Club Tokyo's got the information there. So check it out. Other than that, that's all I got. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. I'd really love to hit that 15,000 mark. That's a goal of mine. But we'll see. I'm at like almost 12 after 12 years. Boom. But appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll see you on the next Fresh Vinyl video. And remember, people, buy vinyl, Fresh Vinyl. Bam!